This is Diana Sullivan in Austin, Texas. Today I want to demonstrate something unusual, easy, and interesting that you can do with any knitting machine. I found directions for this in some papers that Charlotte Powell gave me. Charlotte was our brother dealer in Austin for years, and she's a lovely machine knitter who has retired and moved on to some other things. She has this paper marked as Fern lace or wisteria. It is a horizontal braid and insertion. It is lacy. This one was made on my standard gauge machine. I thought I would demonstrate it on camera on the bulky machine. I've begun my sample by casting on over 30 stitches and knitting a sample. I'm using tension 6 and I'm using a worsted weight yarn on the bulky machine. It's kind of a light worsted weight yarn. The machine needs to be set in hold position. These machines vary, but on this one you slide this lever from normal to hold. Now, because the carriage is set for hold, any needles that are out in hold position are not going to knit. I want everything in hold but the 6 needles closest to the carriage. And then I need to weight the work. My original instructions that Charlotte gave me said to use a small claw weight, but I've been very happy with one of these ribber weights and then a small hook. So I've got the weight hanger and a small hook. I found that most of the problems with knitting this pattern come from not weighting the knitting properly. I put the weight right under the middle 6 stitches that are still in work. And now I'm going to knit 8 rows. You can see that those 8 rows make this little piece longer. Then you put the next 3 stitches back halfway, so they're going to knit, and you come across, and then you take the first 3 stitches, which are the stitches away from the carriage, bring them out into hold, and move your weight into right under the middle of the area that you are going to be knitting. And you knit 9 rows. And now we're going to do the same kind of thing. 3 more stitches into work. Knit across. Take the farthest away stitches that were in work and bring them out to hold so those will not knit. Knit 9 rows. Oh, and of course, you always have to move the weight. Now put 3 more stitches into work on the away from the carriage side. Knit across and take the 3 stitches toward the beginning away from the carriage and put them in hold. Bring the weight to right under the middle of the stitches that you're about to knit and do 9 rows. And you repeat this procedure across the knitting. You're going to do this until you have only 6 stitches in work, and they're going to be the last 6 stitches. Once you get to having only 6 stitches, you'll do something just a little different. You're going to knit 8 rows. Tighten the tension back down to 4, and you're going to knit all the stitches across the bed that are selected. Or you can just switch the carriage out of hold so that it knits them all, and do 4 rows. At this point, I've made a little sample and I've done one of these braid rows, and I'm going to do another. You do it in both directions. I've knit 4 rows tighter than the garment, and I put the weight under the first few stitches. Now you put all of the needles into hold except for the first 6. We're going to begin by working on just these first 6 needles. Since the machine's in hold, it will only knit those. You begin the row by knitting 8 rows over these 6 needles. At the garment tension, which in my case is tension 6, and then you put 3 more stitches into work. Just move them halfway back. The machine will pick them up as I go across. So I come across once, then I move my weight. I want my weight to be situated right under the middle of the 6 stitches I'm going to knit next, and I bring the first 3 stitches back into hold. These are the 3 needles farthest away from the carriage, and I knit 9 rows. Now I bring 3 more needles into work and go across once. I move the weight over and bring 3 needles here on this side out of work so that I'll have 6 again. And I do 9 rows. Bring 3 more needles into work and go across. Move my weight. Take the 3 stitches that are the farthest from the carriage, move those 3 needles into hold. You have to make sure that your stitches in hold are all the way out. If you bump them back, they'll knit. You don't want that. And then 9 rows. I repeat this across until I'm on the last 6 needles on the right. When you're over on the final 6 stitches, you just do 8 rows. I need to move my weight. Once you've done an entire row of the braid, then in between the braids you put the 4 rows of the tighter knitting. So I'm moving this down to tension 4 again, and I'm putting all these needles in work so I can do 4 rows a little tighter. I think this one might be effective in some kind of an afghan, and you can see there's a definite directionality to the lace, and you could see that it could be arranged in the garment or the afghan in this direction, and it would be very pretty that way as well. So there's the fern lace. It's a short row technique. Machine knitting is really pretty easy and fun. There are a lot of things that you can make and do. I hope that you'll visit my blog, diananatters.blogspot.com.